Leonie Dawson refuses to be categorized as the podcast. Hello, my loves. Welcome back. I am going to share with you a kind of a longer one, a review, an overview, a reflection upon the last 2 months of my life, my business, all the inside gossip. So I hope this is fun. I hope this is useful. I am also going to record this sitting outside today because it is the coldest day of the year so far, and I want some sunlight. So anyway, I really love a good monthly review post. My assistant Zeta does great longer ones, and the author and entrepreneur Kimberly Wilson does kind of shorter, picture-laden ones. So whatever the length and the style, I love them. So I thought I'd give it a crack. So in this one, I'm going to review both April and May because I took May off from creating. So there were two really different rhythms, and I want to give you just like a long overview of life and money and business. I will say, like, there's some bits where I go into like so much detail. I think it's just too much information, but oh well, I'm going there anyway. Now, if you want to see the pictures from this, head on over to the blog, leoniedawson.com/blog, and there's a bunch of pictures. So you might want to get yourself a cup of tea. Let the games begin. So first up, life in Kiddlywinks, because that's the most important stuff. So for me, April started off with 2 weeks of school holidays, and I always really look forward to school holidays. I love that we don't have to do school runs and that we can just like merrily mooch around the house together. And it was an especially cozy school holidays because we had lots of rain, and for the first week my eldest was nursing a sprained ankle, which required an emergency room visit. Plus, our state was on high alert for a potential corona mini outbreak, so it was all just kind of combined together just to be great impetus to stay home, really. Anyway, our state government managed to contain the mini outbreak, so we relatively quickly went back to having no COVID cases again, which is like, who fucking Ray? And I know that for 99% of the world, this is not the case, and I'm so sorry. It's kind of like Australia and New Zealand now live like an alternative reality world, right? Anyway, in terms of actually leaving the house over school holidays, we did end up visiting a friend's farm for the morning, and we did a quick road trip to visit my in-laws, and mostly my kids just played for a gloriously long amount of time. And we also had a special mission taking the kids to a new dentist. And I'm going to go on a little rant, a little backstory here. So we were going to a specialist because both of my kids have a teeth condition, which is likely caused by me having hyperemesis gravidarum during their pregnancies. But the specialist that we had left, and we got assigned a new one, and it was total fucking doom. This dude just had no fucking clue how to successfully work with kids and would refuse my requests when I would advocate for my kids' needs. Cue meltdowns from my kids and one pissed off mama bear. So we ended up getting recommendations for other kid-friendly dentists and tried them out, and we had a stellar experience. There was no meltdowns, there were dentists who were happy to make gentle accommodations when needed, and parents and kids who didn't need a day to recover because it was all actually quite lovely. So I'd like to give myself a gold star for that parenting initiative, honestly. And look, here's the thing, while I'm on this ranty topic, I would joyfully like to support you in fucking firing any professional who isn't right for you and your family. I fired one doctor because he told me in front of my children, "Oh, don't forget your children when you leave here. I don't want them around here." Like, excuse me, fucking what? I also fired another doctor because he thought I was lying about a rare health condition that I have and referred to me dismissively as some girl when he called a specialist in front of me. And I am not a girl. I am a 38-year-old grown fucking woman, cheers. Also, I was right, and he was wrong, and also fuck him very much. I will not have me or my kids' needs or humanity dismissed by any other motherfucker, especially somebody who is like, I am paying money to care for us. Fuck me. Anyway, rant over. What else? kids and horses. Oh, my kids have been doing equine assisted learning, which is mostly just a way for me to get them comfortable and confident around horses because I grew up around horses and it was one of the greatest blessings of my life. So I want to make sure that I expose them to the gift that is horse love as well. They've previously done horse riding and they would love to do that again. I just haven't actually been able to find a horse riding school here on the Sunshine Coast that teaches kids under the age of 10. When we lived in Canberra, there was a great equestrian centre that would teach really young kids and it was awesome. But for whatever reason, I haven't been able to find a younger kid horse riding school here. Anyway, equine assisted learning isn't about riding, it's about learning how to communicate with horses and manage them, and it's just a ton of fun and it's awesome to help them build up not just like confidence with horses but just confidence like in everyday life, like where they have to like get a pony to like push a giant soccer ball around an obstacle course while a big Kelpie dog like tries to stop them from doing it. Like it's actually kind of hilarious and brilliant and great, and they just kind of learn so much from that experience. Some other kid highlights: my eldest kid did extra swimming lessons, which was bonza. She has just been doing them through the school, but it was really useful to find somebody who just does them privately and could give like a little bit of extra, I don't know, guidance about the like where she was not working stuff out, because she like quickly diagnosed the issue that my kid was having with swimming and was like, oh, and this is how you change that, and she was just great. My big kid also decided to go from having very long mermaid hair to a shoulder length lob and ended up donating over a foot of her hair to Variety Children's Charity. My youngest kid lost a bunch of her baby teeth. Oh, she's growing up. And all three of us have been doing an art e-course together by Tammy Hudgen, and it's just brilliant and beautiful, and my kids are just such awesome artists. I feel so lucky to get to witness them create. Another highlight, my youngest said one day, she said, Mum, I just love writing so much. I could just write all day and all night and all day again. I'm sure you can hear the birds in my background. There is a very loud crow, or as Wild Bushman Dad would say, noisy fuckers. My Wild Bushman Dad went over to New Zealand, which is like 3 hours flight from Australia, but has a very different ecosystem. And I said to him, oh, how was your big New Zealand holiday? And he was like, oh, it's just so lovely over there. They just, all the birds over there, they're quiet, eh? They're quiet. Not like the noisy fuckers we have here. Now when I hear birds just being loud, I just think, not like the noisy fuckers here. It's so great. And last thing, I also took my eldest kid shopping, and we ended up buying 3 matching dresses for her and her 2 besties, and it was hilarious how excited she was, and it was truly a peak tween experience, I gotta say. Me and my love also celebrated our anniversary, 20 years together and 10 years married. We got married on our 10-year anniversary, but we like moved in together like a month after we met and started dating. So I always go off like our first date anniversary because that was really the beginning of our love story, you know. Anyway, we were going to go for a beautiful drive by ourselves to Mullaney and Montville, which are 2 really cute little mountain villages not far from here. But one of the kids was sick, as is like the absolute theme of this term, so that is still on the back burner, because we have had basically sick kids like on and off now for I think 6 or 7 weeks, and I still have one sick at home. My word, they just keep taking it in turns, bless them. What else? Oh, as our anniversary present, we really didn't want to buy anything for each other. We like have more than enough. but we did invest in an Instax Square hybrid camera. We got the SQ20. We've had an Instax Mini for about 7 years and we've loved it and we use it crap tons. I was just really wanting to get a Square version to use for art journaling. And I'm so glad that we paid extra for the hybrid version because you can edit on the screen before you print. You can use filters, you can make collages, do double exposures. It's just like all this extra sorts of like fun creative goodness. Like if you go over to the blog post you'll have to see, but I took a photo of us on our anniversary and it's like a double exposure of me and my love's face merged as one, and it is creepy as fuck, very unsexy. And I just thought like that camera is like the perfect 20th anniversary present really, because even when we had fuck all money, my bloke has always just said yep for me to buy any creative shit, like anything to support my dreams, he'd go for it. Like expensive cameras, art supplies, laptops, whatever I thought I needed for like the next thing I wanted to make. And he was like all in. And some of those things, of course, ended up making money and some of them didn't at all. But I'm just so grateful that he's always just gone, hell yeah, we'll spend our money on that stuff. Sure, we won't go on like super expensive holidays, but you want a digital like camera? Sure, let's do it. Anyway, it's 20 years and I still just feel really lucky. Like the love just keeps on deepening and the space between us, it kind of, I don't know, it just continues to soften in a way. And I just still think he's just got the loveliest face I've ever seen. I'm lucky. I'm a lucky bugger. What else? Okay, health. I started seeing a naturopath to try and improve my health, and it's been useful just to try and organize health stuff like getting all my old doctor's records from various medical centres around Australia consolidated into one, getting the My Health record set up and collecting test results, doing a bunch of at-home poop and hormone tests, getting more tests like blood tests and stuff ordered via my GP, and keeping a food diary and weekly health checklist. There's still heaps more for me to do, but there's progress. And I've also been seeing my osteopath regularly to try and keep my back and my neck functioning without pain. Actually, I went to see her this morning just for a bit of a tune-up. And, okay, so like just around the corner from where her clinic is, there is a cafe, and both of us love going to this cafe. It's like a tiny cafe / bookstore, and they have lots of cards there, and the cards are really inappropriate. And one of the cards that they sell there is, it's a big, beautiful pink card, and it's got painted pictures of dicks all over it, and it says, "I wish you all the hap penis in the world." Right, like hap penis in the world. So, we were talking about the love, our shared love for this cafe, and I said, "Have you seen the dick card there?" And she's like, "I haven't. That's so weird." So the next time there, I bought her the dick card, and I sent it in the mail to her as a thank you, just for, taking care of all my bones. Putting up with all my shit over the last couple of years. And I walked in this morning and she had this dick card just sitting up beautifully on her desk waiting for me to come in. We just fucking laughed and laughed and laughed. So I don't know, I just really recommend sending dick cards to all the professionals in your life. I just think it works really well. It's a completely appropriate thing to do. Nah. Okay, what else? Friend and family fun. We had an aunt and an uncle come and stay on our acreage in their caravan for a few days, and it was awesome. We had the best time because like they kind of set up and they had like their little wood stove and their little like outdoor area set up, and so we barely spent any time inside the house and we just hung out beside their caravan instead. And it felt like we were camping too. So like each night we would like make up this big kind of shared charcuterie board, or I'd make them risotto or whatever, and we would all hang outside next to the wood stove with our little beanies on, and it felt like we were camping, except we could sleep in our beds at night. So Win-win-win all around. And I think we'll have more friends and relatives coming with their caravans to stay at our place, which will be so fun. It's so great. What a great way to have fun. Also, my kids went to a paint and pizza workshop with my crew of hags and their womb fruits. And me and my darling mate Em had a dinner date at Spiros, which is a Greek restaurant in Mooloolaba. It was so fucking delicious that my mouth waters just thinking about it. Highly recommend if you're on the sunny coast. Okay, let's talk about money. Money, money, money. So a few money things happened. Firstly, our net worth increased quite a bit. Our savings and our investments are doing well, but also like we're getting like net worth gain from owning 2 homes. Because the housing market here in Australia is growing wildly, and it seems completely stupid if I'm honest, but there we are, that's what's happened. We've got one house that we live in, one house that we used to live in that we now rent out long term. So those are the 2 properties that we have. We also inched closer to getting a new financial setup finalised. It's been a year in the making, and hopefully we'll get it sorted by the end of this month. I'll probably give a little bit more detail once it's done about what we did. It's just that we're still working out the final pieces. So until it's done, I actually can't tell you what we've done because the structure could change. I also got a bunch of cash savings that I'd like to invest in more ethical managed funds once that whole restructure kind of thing is complete. So I'm really fucking excited for that. I also signed off on last year's financial year records. We had an awesome year, and we had a meeting with 2 of our accountants. So we ended up keeping the same accounting firm that we had in Canberra, and we do all of our meetings with them via Zoom now. If you're wondering who I use for accountants, I did do a big blog post about like how to choose the right accountant for you, and it's even got like a spreadsheet of like my decision making matrix and all that kind of stuff. So it's always really useful to try and find the right people for what you're needing in your business at this time, because when I was starting out in business, they were absolutely not going to be the right ones for what I needed, but they're the right fit for right now. So I end up using DFK Everills in Canberra. They do work with people all around Australia. If you do go to them, just let them know that I sent you. I won't get any like money for it or anything like that, but they'll at least know like, oh, she's one of those. Because I always aim to be their number 1 fun client. Whoa! Okay, what else? I have also been keeping a monthly spreadsheet of how I'm going with reaching our savings, our investment goals, and I'm now 6 months ahead of target. Hey-oh! Very cool. If you want to go check out the spreadsheet, go over to the blog and you'll find it there. But basically, my current financial goal is to have enough in ethical managed funds that we could really easily live off the dividends from it if we wanted to. Now, not that I'm interested in retiring, because I think I'll be making shit forever really, but it's just a fun goal for me to have. So my current goal is to have roughly like 6.2 million in overall net worth. My accountant is like, you do not need that much, you can chill out. But I prefer going for a bigger goal than a smaller one. Plus, it's invested in ethical companies, so I don't know, it's kind of a win-win really. And I go into more detail about exactly what income streams I have and how I manage them in my Money Manifesting and Multiple Streams of Income if you're interested. So go to leoniedawson.com/money. All right, let's talk about philanthropy. So as you probably know, we have done a bunch of really rad stuff with our money over the years, including building a library in Vietnam through Room to Read, helping build a 6-room school in Ghana through Pencils of Promise, donating over $45,000 to a Kenyan children's orphanage, and being in the top 1% of Kiva lenders worldwide. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've also done some revenge donating over the years because, yes, I am a Scorpio, thank you. So when, like, a conservative politician or even an extended family member pisses me off with something they say because they're being racist or just fucking moronic or sexist or transphobic or homophobic or anything, I donate to a non-profit that benefits causes that they are specifically railing against. So ho ho ho, fuck them. I don't know, sometimes it's like that kind of spiciness and revenge is really important. Of course I actually speak out against it as well, but it just makes me feel like I'm giving them the double fingers up when I'm like, ha ha ha, I'm going to donate it in your name. Motherfuckers. And yes, George Christensen, the Conservative MP in Australia, has blocked me on social media and didn't appreciate when I did that to him. But I don't appreciate that he's a fucking homophobic bastard. So that's where I am with that. Okay, not all of my donating is in revenge, just some of it. So last year I decided that I needed to consolidate most of our donations and support the fight against climate crisis, because we were donating to about 10 to 15 organizations up to them. So I decided to consolidate that and just donate $25,000 in one financial year to Australian Wildlife Conservancy. No, it was one calendar year to Australian Wildlife Conservancy to help them buy more land for wildlife conservation. And this year, for this calendar year, I'm still trying to decide on our approach, because I think we may need to split the funds. So half goes to an organisation like the Wilderness Society, which does more advocacy and activism to try and kind of enact wider spread environmental legislative protections, and then the other half goes to a direct organisation like Direct Action, like Wildlife Conservancy or Bush Heritage Australia. So I'm still working out the details. Once I've got that all sorted, I'll let you know. And again, we're still waiting for the financial setup change to be done so that I can do this sort of stuff. In the meantime, however, we have donated to Doctors Without Borders and also sponsored a child here in Australia through the Smith family as well. Righto, creativity. What did I do? What have I been doing? I blogged every day in April. I podcasted every day in April. I started a travelling art journal circle with my darling mate T. And if you're wondering what an art journal circle is, I did do a blog post about it. Basically, each of us buy a small Moleskine A5 journal purely because they're really thin and easy to post, and you can often send them as kind of a letter because they're quite thin. And we do a few pages each in the book, and then we send it to each other, and then we just keep sending it back and forward, and it becomes kind of this combination art journal, and it's really fun. I also took a water damaged book of mine. I had a hardcover copy of Untie the Strong Woman by Clarissa Pinkola, Estes, PhD. It's just brilliant, and I love it so much. And then it got soaked with water, and I was kind of bummed. But then I was like, no, I'll make it into an art project. So I started making it into an art journal, and then I'm going to give it. I've already given it to my other sweet mate, Em, who lives here, and she'll work in it too, and she'll create her own altered book as well. And it'll be just kind of like a fun, collaborative, creative project together. What else? Oh, I upcycled a pinboard with my eldest kid. I did a blog post about that. I art journaled through course notes. Did a blog post about that. I drew pictures of books that I'd read. I drew comedians that I watched. I did blog posts about all of that. If you want the links, over on the blog. I also did an acrylic painting at a paint and pizza workshop, and that was really fun to learn from somebody else's techniques. All right, work stuff. So I've already mentioned this elsewhere, but I do have 2 assistants again. And I know I've sworn for a few years now that I would only ever have 1 team member going forward, but it's ended up working perfectly. So my usual assistant needed a break after a really busy work period. So I asked somebody who's worked for me before and is still a really good mate of mine if she was able to fill in with customer service emails. So it was only going to be for a couple of weeks, but it ended up just being such a wonderful fit for all three of us that we've just carried on. So together, the two of them only do about 25 hours a week. Together, one does like 5 hours, one does 20 hours. So it's still less than one full-time staff member. And we all kind of share the same communication style and commitment to, healthy boundaries and empathy. So it's kind of easy as fuck, really. And no, this is not a sign that I'm going to grow a big team again. I've done that. I had like 20 something staff and I hated it. It's not my lifestyle or my personality preference whatsoever. I just want to make shit and not manage people. You might be hearing a big dog bark, and that's the giant galumphard of a dog that lives next door called Pancakes, and I just love Pancakes mostly because of its name, but it's also a very sweet dog. I was waiting to get my favorite smoothie today at Raw Energy, which is my favorite cafe for smoothies, and there was a toddler in the cafe and they were trying to decide what to order, and he just kept on yelling quite triumphantly and excitedly, "Pancakes! Pancakes!" And it amused me wildly because, one, that's exactly how I feel about pancakes. Just like I just want to yell pancakes at the top of my lungs at the very idea that I could possibly have pancakes. And secondly, somebody yelling pancakes is now something that I hear on a daily basis because Pancakes, who I love, is also a bit of a silly dog and he likes to bark quite a bit. And so his owner's always going, "Pancakes, come on!" So I just love hearing people yell pancakes, basically. Okay, back to what I was talking about. I love having a tiny team with tiny work hours and excellent profit. I love that way more than having a big team and a big workload and less profit. That all sucks and I am not a fan. Okay, April sales results. So in April, I ran a promotion to give people a month's notice to grab 3 of my courses before I doubled the prices. And it ended up bringing in about $150,000 in sales, which was rad. So I thought I'd give a breakdown of where the sales came from. So the vast majority were, as always, people on my mailing list. It's why I've always taught my students to focus on building a mailing list over social media, because you will earn so much more money from them. Plus, you own your access to them and you don't have to pay to get a message in front of them. Well, you have to pay in terms of, a mailing list provider, but you don't have to pay like $10,000 in fucking Facebook ads to be able to reach your own goddamn audience. So if you need to learn how to write emails that make you a shit ton of money, you should go and check out my Sales Star program, leoniedawson.com/sell. That program is for you and that will help you in bringing in so much more money. Also, about $25,000 of those sales came from my affiliate program, which pays people 50% for every enrollment they refer. You're most welcome to join it. It's free, leoniedawson.com/affiliate. And I love sending that money out. It's giving money to people who love my work and will share about it with others. And I would much rather pay them than Facebook ads. Fuck that nonsense. I also did a few other things which helped with sales, like I blogged and I podcasted every day in April. I did a webinar and open office party where people could pick my brain. I tested using a product called Chatra, let's go Chatra, to provide live chat functionality on my website. I used a Trust Pulse pop-up to provide like social proof of other purchases, where like a little button comes out and goes, "Somebody just bought this product 7 hours ago." And I also used Opt-in Monster to create like timer countdowns and pop-ups on my website to direct people to the sales pages. Now, where the sales did not come from, one, social media, because I don't do it anymore, as I've talked about extensively, and they did not come from paid ads on Facebook or Instagram, etc. I have experimented with Facebook ads and stuff like that, but I just don't love them. I much prefer organic traffic, building a mailing list, and having word of mouth referrals, which is really how I built my business. Now, after that really busy month, I ended up taking May as a sabbatical month. So I was just feeling kind of fallow, like a field that just needed to rest and fill my well again. So I consumed instead of creating. Like I always say, you need to create instead of you consume. But when you're like, you know, you've created and you're like a little bit burnt out, you want to be able to like to reverse that cycle and actually consume other people's creations and new experiences and all that kind of stuff. Treat yourself. I also went to an art gallery. I ate a lot of cake in cafes. I took an artist date to a little town by myself. And I actually was feeling really emotional that day. And I cried to Taylor Swift in the car like an emotional teen. All the usual, really. I just thought it was hilarious, even as I was kind of like sobbing. And I also wrote a lot in my journal as well. I'm really glad I did take the sabbatical because I'm feeling really revved up and ready to create again. So, what's next? I'll have a new e-course coming out this month, so I'm in the planning stages for that. I just surveyed you all. Thank you so much for your responses. We've already had, I think, over 800 responses. So bloody helpful. Plus, I feel like I've kind of got a crap ton of blogging and free goodie making to catch up on. So it's, I'm back in the creative saddle, really. School holidays starts again soon. And all in all, I'm just looking forward to more well-filling and creative making. So I hope you found this useful. If you want me to do this kind of like monthly extensive reviews more regularly, please let me know. I'd love to hear whether you found it useful or not. It did take quite a bit of time to put together, but if you found it useful, then I'll absolutely do it again. All right, my loves, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you, and I hope you have a scrumptious and magical day. Bam, ba, da, bam, bam, ba, da, bam.